Good evening, everyone. Did you know that America has a high school graduation rate of 83% nationally? This may not seem so bad until you realize that 1 out of every 5 students are not graduating. In numbers, this means around 1.2 million kids are not graduating every year, enough to fill America's largest football stadium 11 times. When that many students are dropping out of high school, we need to question the U.S. education system. In December 2016, the OECD released the 2015 results of their Program for International Student Assessment, PISA test. The results for America were nothing new, as we ranked lower than most developed countries. Why are we ranked so low, and how should we change our education system in order to improve? To do that, we must look at the top-ranked nations and see what they are doing so that we can implement their traits in our nation's education system. In that top group of PISA testers, they can be separated into 2 groups: exam-based systems and student knowledge-based systems. America has tried to simulate the competition of the exam-based systems through programs such as No Child Left Behind and Race to the Top, which create fierce competition among schools. So America's taking the correct steps, right? Well, not quite. The exam-based system countries realized they had big problems. One standardized test decided whether you would succeed or fail in life. And huge competition among schools was destroying the overall success of students. This has led to changes within the exam-based system to more resemble the student knowledge-based system, which has 2 traits we need to explore and apply: teacher autonomy and equal classroom treatment. First, what is teacher autonomy? Well, it's the ability for teachers to control how they run their classrooms. Crazy, right? You would think that letting a teacher have control over their classroom should be obvious. But in many of the highly ranked PISA countries, teacher autonomy is non-existent. For example, in Singapore, teachers are forced to have little classroom discussion. And as a result, the students do not resonate with the lesson and they become insecure. Teacher autonomy fixes this problem by allowing teachers to personalize the lessons for students. When I started elementary school, I had a passion for learning, which boosted my initial growth in the experience of school. However, when it came to the math worksheets, I didn't really like them very much, and I began to lose interest in the subject. However, my 2nd grade teacher, Mrs. Alshon's unique way of teaching using pattern blocks gave me an interest in math, which is carried on to this day. Second, we need equal classroom treatment. Separating kids into higher and lower level classes create unnecessary gaps of potentials between students. This philosophy sets high expectations for every student so that everyone can do their best. In 1964, Harvard professor Rosenthal did a study among 1st to 6th grade teachers where he told some of their teachers that their students were about to bloom. But these students were picked randomly and were no different in IQ scores than the other students. However, at the end of the experiment, those that were randomly selected did much better on the IQ test than those that weren't. And this is because the teachers pushed them harder because they thought they could do better. However, student encouragement not only relies on the teacher, but also on other students. For example, in 8th grade, when I got into Troy, peers laughed at me and they told me, "See you back in 2 years when Troy is too tough." And even as I started going to high school at Troy, some of my peers have told me that they didn't see me as someone who was very smart. So when I was picking my classes for junior year, some of my peers told me that I was unprepared or that I wouldn't be able to get the grades that I wanted in those subjects. So in 2 subjects, I took easier classes. And after having a relatively unchallenging junior year, I questioned why I took those easier classes and think that maybe I could have taken those easier classes and still achieved the grades that I want. But it is important not to let others dictate your actions and for you to take responsibility in your own actions. There will be a time where students will feel that they cannot achieve their educational goals. So it is very important for parents to aid in the fight to encourage their students that they can achieve their best, and for students to believe in themselves and know that they can always achieve what they want to be able to achieve. Throughout the speech, an average of 20 students have dropped out of high school. Hopefully in the future we can take the correct steps in order to lower that number. If we ever want students to be engaged with learning, we must take the correct steps to do so. We must believe in the educators who personalize lessons for students, and we must believe in all students that they can achieve their best. Thank you.